2, 3, 4, 5.
Great job. That was good. Good. Nice deep voice.
Who's got it?
I think you're holding.
Yep. Kyle, can we just start with there was a report this week that you kind of want to distance yourself. You're tired of coaching under your father. You want to go do your own thing. Last week we talked about the last name as opposed to the stats and how you want to be viewed. If you fast forward to next year, do you want and expect to be here, or could you see yourself going a different direction?
No, I can't. I mean, that won't be up to me. It'll be up to our owner to decide if he wants us here. But to say reports that I want to distance myself from my father is totally untrue. Came here with a goal to win here, and I'll keep trying to do that until they don't want us here. So that's not a decision that's up to me, but I'm going to coach here until I'm told that I can't anymore, and I'll finish that through.
How much of just wanting to know what you can do out on your own, not as so much as like I don't want to coach with my dad, but just what you could be as a coach, whether in a bigger capacity, does that play into your mind about being a head coach someday? Or
Well, I do know what I can do on my own. I was on my own before I came here. I was a coordinator for 2 years before I came here, and I do know what I can do on my own.
as far as head coaching stuff, do you think about that? Is that things that you say in your coaching career you set goals for and things like that?
Yeah, I always set goals. I'd like someday, hopefully, to get a chance to be a head coach, whatever path that takes. I'm not trying to force that issue. I think of things year to year. Try to do the best thing for me, for myself, and my family. We had some success last year. You can mention for head coach jobs when you have success. When you lose, you don't. So no matter who you're coaching for, what you're doing, it's about winning games, doing a good job at your position, which is me as a coordinator, and I'd really just focus about what I put on tape.
Kyle, how coachable do you think Robert is?
I think Robert's very coachable. He came out of a system that wasn't really similar to ones in the NFL. He's been awesome to work with since we've gotten him. He's tried everything we've asked him to do. He's gotten better in a lot of areas. We've asked him to do things that he hadn't done before until he got here. I think he did a hell of a job with that stuff last year. He's continued to grow this year.
Why do you think there seems to be a notion or reports that suggest that he's not? Why do you feel like?
I don't know. It sounds like there's a report really about everything right now. I think it's pretty boring to talk about our 3 wins. Not much else going on. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a report about on everything. Some things there's partial truths to, but when it comes to working with Robert, nobody works with Robert except for myself, the quarterback coach, and we love working with Robert, and he's great to coach.
With Kirk, what have you seen since you first saw him to now that you say he's obviously worked on this? This is improved, and not surprised by it, but that there's something there that you say Kirk Cousins is different. He's done something different.
Just the overall maturation of him. Kirk is very analytical. He's very A-type personality. He wants to know the whys to everything, where everybody is. He's on top of his stuff. And just the more time he's been here, all the reps that he got in OTAs and training camp, being able to go with the first group and stuff. He didn't get as much in the preseason because he got hurt also, but he didn't practice and everything. And he's been a lot sharper this year with just knowing where everybody is. He always works at it and stuff, but it's not about just knowing it on paper. It's about knowing it out there without thinking. You can't really think in this game. Once the play starts, you got to react, and you just got to feel things and let it rip. And I think Kirk has become natural for after a lot of hard work that he knows where all the eligibles are on the field, and he progresses pretty fast.
2 weeks left in the season. How do you keep the guys from checking out? You mentioned you've only got 3 wins.
Well, first you got to have the right type of guys, and you got to have guys that that enjoy football. That football's important to. That are intrinsically motivated in that way. I think that we do. We got a real good group of guys. I've as good of a group of guys that I've been around. It means a lot to them. They got a lot of pride. I thought they played real hard last week. I felt no let up by them at all. Felt no let up by our coaches at all. And I'd be really surprised if anyone did.
Kyle, how does the structure of the offense change when you have a quarterback taking additional snaps under center as opposed to the pistol?
When
you have Kirk taking snaps under center as opposed to the pistol?
Really the only thing, that changes is that we didn't run the zone read. It doesn't mean you can't. It's just not as high on my list, until maybe Rex got in the game. Then I'd probably run a little bit more. But, you could run it versus some good looks. You see Foles running and stuff at Philly. But it's not something they're trying to dial up versus a lot of looks because you got to have a certain type of speed to just run that versus a lot of looks. So we don't do that as much. So you get a little different play actions off it. You know, when you're not running the zone read, you don't do as much play pass off of it either. But you still do the same concepts down the field. You like your play passes are based off the runs that you do in the game, so everything looks the same. And so just the actions of what we play fake with and one run that we don't do, that's the only thing that changes.
Looking at the selection of plays, how much of that was different this past week and presumably will be different the next 2 weeks versus the first 13 with Robert?
Oh, well, the first 13 games with Robert, there wasn't just a certain type of plays. I think it was different every week. There was some games where you saw us drop back and throw it more with Robert. There's some games where you saw us run it a lot more. There's some games that involved bootlegs. There's some games that involved play action. So, we really try to base it off what the defense is doing, first of all, find the weakness in what they're doing. We like to feel that we can do anything that the defense presents itself with. And so we try to attack the defense, and at the same time, you want to put players in a position that they can be successful. So you always want to attack the X's and O's of what a defense is showing you, but you also want to do stuff that players are capable of doing. You don't want to just attack something because it makes sense if your player can't do it. So there's a fine line between both, and that's really what we work at, trying to figure out throughout the week, throughout practice reps.
Kyle, on Kirk's first interception, you guys were at your 1.5 yard line. It seems like you pass out of that situation a lot off of play action. How hard is it not to be predictable in certain down and distance situations, especially when you're back up against your own goal line?
Yeah, it's hard. You got to mix it up. I think that's some stuff that we did a lot earlier in the year. And then we went to runs for a while. So it's a 50-50 chance of what you're going to do. It's a scary situation for offense to be in general, whether you're on the one. There's a lot of different philosophies people have. Some people just do quarterback sneaks or fullback dives or just try to hand it up to the back. Some people take shots out of there. Really, whatever play you do makes the coaches a little bit nervous. You can run an inside zone play, and all one guard has to do is take the wrong step, and you're going to have a big 3 technique right in the backfield and get a safety on your back. You like to pass it just to get it out there quick. You got to have one guy miss, and you get a sack in there, a holding call, and it's a safety. So it's a fine line. You definitely don't want to be predictable. I do think we do throw more than some people, so I think that's why you notice it. But it's definitely a 50-50 type deal. Some people are, no matter what they do, they're just going to quarterback sneak in and get it out of there and try to punt. And I always feel if you punt when you're backed up, I look at that as an offense just gave the other team 3 points. All they need to do is go about 10 yards after they catch that punt, and they already have a field goal. So I feel it's very important when you're backed up to get a first down, and we're not just going to play conservatively to not get a safety. We're going to do whatever we can to get a first down.
Kyle, Aldrich the last 2 games has had 57% of his catches, 52% of his yards for the whole season. Since Hankerson went down, what do you make of the way Al's played?
Al's done a good job. Al had a real good camp for us, real good OTAs. He fell a little bit behind, with Hank stepping up, and we never go into a game trying to force the ball to anybody. We just call plays, we attack coverages. Quarterback goes through the progression, tries to distribute it to the guys who the coverages are taken away. And it's worked out good for Aldrich the last couple of games. And when he's came to him, he's made the plays, and I've been happy for him to get some results.
Has he about him as like a prototypical X? Has he been playing any Z opposite Pierre? Can you give me an idea just conceptually?
Yeah, the majority of Aldrich's reps have been at Z, just because Pierre is the guy we consider our number 1 receiver. So we rotate all those other guys at Z, and when Pierre's getting a break, we put Aldrich in there at X also. But Aldrich is very smart, knows all the positions. He's capable of doing all 3 of them. I think the majority of his reps come at Z because Pierre owns the X spot a little bit more, but he is all over the place.
Earlier in the year, it seemed like he was kind of just slotted as Pierre's backup. Has he done anything to prove himself more versatile, or is it something where you just started throwing him in with more of those opportunities?
No, I think it's we've always believed in Aldrich. But it's always about the other players in the rotation. I think it's made it a lot easier for him to get out there since Hankerson got hurt. When Hankerson wasn't hurt, it was more Hankerson and Josh rotating at Z. We like to keep our guys fresh, and it was more Pierre and Aldrich rotating at X. Since Hank got hurt, there's a little bit more of a 3-man rotation. So because Aldrich can play both positions, so he just gets out that more because we've lost a player.
With Aldrich being on the field more and getting more reps opposite another guy who's a burner, can that help disguise some of the things that you guys would have run when he may have only been getting 8 or 9 plays in the past? In terms of like the 62-yard catch, if he's out on the field more with Pierre, does it make it more difficult for defenses to maybe know when that's coming?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Aldrich, everybody knows he's our fastest player, and you usually like to send your fastest player deep over your slower players. But there's not really a play in our offense that just says we're throwing it deep. I really don't. I kind of want them to cover Aldrich deep. Please cover him so we can throw it to open people underneath, as long as we're sucking up the linebackers and play fake. But if they don't cover him, if they don't honor that, that means no one else is going to be open. You have to let it go in time deep. So that's the goal of it. It's usually a 3-level throw. You want your fastest guy on the top level, so it makes it an easier read. You don't have to sit there and hold on to the ball to see what's happening. Usually that is Aldrich. There's been times he's gone deep and everyone goes with them, and that's good because then it opens up someone right underneath for a big play. So I always would much rather have the deeper throw because it's easier to score when you only have to throw it once instead of 10 times. But having a threat to where Aldrich's not always in those same positions, I do agree with you, helps.
Kyle, does it make it more difficult to evaluate what Kirk has done when you're facing the 20th ranked pass D like Atlanta, and the 32nd ranked pass D in the Cowboys this week? Does it make it more difficult when you have teams that are just susceptible to being thrown on?
I don't really think so. I think it's the NFL. I think everybody's tough. I thought Atlanta was 20th, but really doesn't matter. I mean, I heard about how they're all rookies back there, and there were 3 rookies, but 2 of those rookies were starters. Alford and Trufant are pretty good players, and I think you guys will hear a lot about them over the years. I know they were starting a rookie safety who was a backup player, but people faced us last year with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back, and I think that wasn't considered a weakness. But I thought they had some pretty good players, and it's just one game, so you can't go all off that. But I'm not going to fault him for the competition he was going to. I thought he did a solid job.
After the first drive when Kirk was hit twice on the play action and then the one on third down by Osi, what were you guys able to do to kind of mitigate their pass rush and get the ball out of his hands quicker? Was there anything specific?
No, we didn't change anything. They brought a cross dog on a play pass. We missed it. Our back was trying to get to him. Guy got blown off the ball a little bit. The back got picked, so they had a free hitter. Did a good job still getting rid of it, not taking the sack. On the second one, they had an all-out blitz that we did pick up, but it was tough to really step up in there with the all-out blitz internally. And then OC had a good job going around the edge, got a hand on the ball. I think we just did it cleaner the rest of the game. We didn't change anything protection-wise or play-wise. It was just 2 plays that we didn't do our best on, and I thought we did better later times in the game. That's it? You guys good? All right.